Last March, our next guest, an upcoming actress seen in films like Defiance and Raging Bull, was systematically stalked and stabbed, a direct result of her newfound fame. Well, Jodie Foster and John Lennon are just a few more names to add to the long list of unfortunate victims of crime resulting from public notoriety. Well, here to talk about our newly formed group, Victims for Victims, is Theresa Saldana. We're so glad that you're here with us, because, I mean, that was a real close call.
Very close.
A guy, let's say, actually followed you since, what, 1979? You found out about later?
I didn't find out until March 8th, a week before the attack, but he'd been planning to do it for quite some time, and suddenly, a week after we had been receiving phone calls about some man who wanted my address. We didn't know what for.
We say we, who are you talking?
Well, my representatives, my agent, my manager, people in my family, and we figured the calls were just, you know, some fan, nothing to really worry about. But I did call the police on March 8th, and they said that they couldn't send anyone out because there wasn't enough manpower. And this was in spite of the fact that he had somehow managed to get my home address. And then a week later, the man attacked me.
Did you ever get any letters or calls from him personally?
Not personally. I never spoke to him or was contacted by him personally. No.
The one thing that stands out the most about it, well, number one, we're so happy that you're back in action and apparently doing fine. But you were rescued by a guy that worked for a water company in town, Sparkletts Water, and he became a hero himself, Jeff.
Jeff Fenn, yeah, he's in the sheriff's department now, which is what he wanted to do all along. So
really?
Yeah, he was able to fulfill a lifelong dream because of what happened.
Because isn't it true that like something like 60 days before your incident, he had rescued somebody else?
Yes, he's got a history of doing these deeds. This is the most incredible one of the things he's done, but I think he's an excellent candidate to be on the police force, to say the least.
And he became a hero in his own right for what he did. And then all of a sudden he started getting life-threatening calls.
Yeah, there was some of that. I don't think it's going on now, but in the beginning there was an initial reaction like that.
How do you deal with somebody like a relationship with Jeff after a man saves your life? Somebody saves your life. What do you feel towards that person?
Well, in the beginning, it's very hard to describe. You just feel so much emotion just going through you because you realize that because of that one person, you were spared death. And it's very, very intense. But then we became friends and, you know, saw each other and called each other. And as time went on, it's really become more of a regular friendship. It's not always at the forefront of our minds, the rescue situation, but still it's there. It's a unique relationship.
Victims for Victims, your organization, what exactly is that doing?
Well, basically, it's a network of former crime victims who go out and meet with more recent victims. And this was formed because at the time when I was attacked, I really tried very actively to find another victim who would be able to come to me and talk to me and just somehow relate to me, having themselves lived through it. And at that time, nothing like this existed. There were groups that went out to talk to people about rape and alcoholism, cancer, and other important issues, but there was nothing specifically for victims of violent crime. And this made me feel really isolated and alone. And finally, I was able to meet with someone, just by coincidence, who had been a victim. And that sense of rapport and camaraderie really prompted me to feel that this should be something that happens as a matter of course. It should be something available to victims. So that's why I decided to form the organization, and now we're actively doing it. It's really rewarding.
Well, you originally, after the incident happened, you didn't want to talk about it to anybody.
Well, not to the press, not publicly in the beginning, but I did talk about what had happened to me a great deal to family and friends and other well-wishers. I talked about it a lot from the beginning.
It's such a terrible thing to think about. I mean, well, how that all happened. Do you remember when it actually happened?
I remember everything, sure. But, you know, I think as time goes along, you begin to have a certain distance from it. And now I'm able to use what happened to me in a positive way and take some action about it, you know, rather than just letting it set me back and knock me off completely. I'm able to work with the way I feel about it and what's actually happened. And, you know, now I'm back working again, and I'm very healthy again, which is something to thank God for, really, is that I'm able to do shows. I've gone back. I've done a number of...
Was it hard to get back out there in front of a camera, back out on stage and do it again?
I have to say it really wasn't. It was... When I got out there, it was 8 months after the attack, and I was guest starring in 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. And the minute I walked on the set, everything was fine. I didn't feel any strange pressure. I didn't feel any ambivalence about it. I just went in, did the role. I had a very, very good role to work with. And since then, I've done 3 other projects, and it's been the same in each case. I just don't feel that it's affected me adversely as a performer.
You're a pro. The light goes on, and that's it. We're glad that everything's okay now, and wish you the best.
Thanks.
Theresa, thanks for being with us. Tomorrow's guest, Shelley Long from Cheers, who just won a Golden Globe, the king and queen of soaps, daytime soaps. Bill and Susan Seaforth Hayes from Days of Our Lives, actress Sandra Bernhard, who's co-starring in a new film, The King of Comedy, with Jerry Lewis and Robert De Niro, somebody you know, and professional gambler Amarillo Slim. So we'll see you then.